guys, so day 1 of series 10. I think when I was on like series 4, I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm on series 4. And so now it's number 10, which is absolutely insane. But you know, to be honest, and I've said this as I've gone through all the series, is I do this purely for my own selfish reasons, that I just feel like I need to move, and it's so easy to get sucked into everything else with admin. And if I don't do my own class, you know, you can feel it. You know, you start to feel quite sluggish. So there we go, got a few more people in the waiting room. So, you know, I just feel I want to see out this crazy year with a little bit of movement, a little bit of breath work. I think it's just going to make me feel physically better. And then, as you guys know, we're moving the studio, which is quite a huge thing. And so I've kind of called the theme of this particular series New Beginnings. So, you know, we're going to kind of carry that theme through everything. It's going to be a combination of Pilates. It's going to be a combination of yoga, breath work, mindfulness. So, you know, I'm always open to requests. If you guys have anything specific that you want to focus on or want to review, feel free to let me know, and I'll go from there. All right. Fantastic. Hi, guys. How are you, Fina? Hi, Bernie. Hi, Shannon.
Hey,
so lovely to see all of you. All right. So we just did little introductions. I've got a few people in studio with me today as well. But I've focused the camera on me. Poor Ashley was trying to hide, but she's she's going to be behind me the whole time. You can watch her as well. Your nightmare coming true.
How to do it, how not to do it.
No, not at all. So guys, the only props that you're going to need is a mat, and then of course if you need some padding for knees, etc., or something to start on, I would recommend a block or a folded up towel available for yourself. Okay, let's move. So we're going to start in a resting position today, guys. I'm just going to close the door here. Are you guys okay with that?
Yes, thank you.
Just leave it like that, so we can have a little bit of fresh air coming through. All right, so come towards the back end of your mat and open your knees a little bit, big toes together, sit your hips back, and already for some people's knees, they don't like this. So if you need to give yourself padding or lift your bum up, do so. And then just take your time as you walk yourself forward, and then see if you can bring your head down towards the ground. And I recommend having the elbows quite bent to start off with, so that there's no tension through the neck and shoulders. You want to find as much ease in this position as possible. So make any final adjustments that you need. And then just allow yourself to settle into your skin. Let yourself settle into the shape that your body wants to make this morning. Feel free to close your eyes if that feels good for you. And allow your breathing to slow down. Become aware of each inhale and each exhale. Feel free to choose if you're breathing in and out through your nose, or if you'd like to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. That's absolutely perfect. And take a moment before we start moving to scan through your body. Become aware of any areas of tension or discomfort. And direct your breath there just for 2 or 3 breaths. And with each exhale, allow yourself to melt, to sink a little bit deeper. And taking a moment before we come out of resting pose to perhaps set an intention or a dedication for your class this morning. And just a reminder for yourself that this is closing one chapter of 2020 and opening up a new chapter for the new year, new beginnings. Take one more deep inhale, fill your lungs, fill your body, and then hold your breath just for a moment. Slowly exhale. And then on your next breath, start to bring yourself up onto all fours. So taking your time, setting yourself up so that you have your wrists below your shoulders, middle finger pointing forward, spread the other fingers out, and then getting your knees just below your hips. Draw your shoulders away from your ears as you find that energy through your crown and the energy through your tail. And then on your next breath, start to round your spine, curling your tail underneath you, pressing away from your hands, tucking your chin in. Enjoy your cat stretch for a moment. And then on your next breath, reach your tail back. And you can either just come back to neutral, or maybe you want to start to move towards extension. And moving at your own pace, cat stretch, and then moving into an extended spine, or in yoga, they call it the cat and the cow. So whatever your pace and rhythm are, whatever your range of movement is, see if you can connect your movement to your breath. And it doesn't matter when you're inhaling and when you're exhaling. And quite frankly, I like to play around with it. I'll switch it up a little bit because it just gives you a different awareness of your body. And we're going to take just one more time. Round your spine. So you're going to now stay in a cat stretch. Stay for just a moment. Move your hips halfway back so that you feel a wonderful stretch across the lower back. Push up onto the tips of your fingers so you're really connecting all 10 fingertips firmly to the ground. And we're going to add just some gentle releases. Very small trampolining movements. So this is a wonderful fascial release movement for across the lower back, for the arm line, because this is getting those lats to release as well. One more. And then press the hands firmly down. Bring yourself back onto all fours. And then lengthen your spine just to neutral and hold it there for a moment. And now start to wag your tail from side to side. So what we're doing here is laterally flexing the lumbar spine. So we're just getting our spine to move in all these different directions. And take a moment to notice on your own body, is it easier for you to move your hips to the right, or is it easier to the left? Maybe if you're one of those very balanced people, it's the same, but mine aren't. And then start to look over your shoulder to see your tail. So now you're adding a little bit of lateral flexion of the thoracic spine and the cervical spine. And just taking a few more. Come back to the center and hold. Balance on your right hand, reaching the left arm out to the side, and pause here for a moment. So finding the connections into your core, rooting into that right hand, and start to come into your thread the needle. So if you need to rest here on your forearm, then you can stay there and put your head on the block. But if you can, See if you can thread all the way through, and then just hold it here for a moment. Keep your right hand firmly connected to the ground, and on your breath, give a gentle push with your hand and a little release. So when I do this, I feel the most amazing release across my upper back on a muscle called the rhomboids. And I can also feel quite a wonderful release underneath my scapula, underneath my shoulder blade. So just observe on yourself where you're feeling it. You might feel it somewhere completely different. Let's do 2 more. Use your breath. 1 more. And come to the center. Now root into that right hand. Come all the way up and reach the left arm to the side. Look at your left thumb. And as you bring your left hand up towards the sky, keep looking up. Open up across your heart. Beautiful spiral of the spine. And then come all the way down onto all fours. Everybody feeling okay? Great. So balance on your left hand and the right arm reaches to the side. Pause here. Feel the connections to your belly, rooting into the left hand, and then coming into your thread the needle. So remember, you can stop at any point where you feel that your spine can take you. Stay here for a moment, rooting into the left hand, and you give a gentle push and release. Gentle movements, getting that rotation of the spine. And how does it feel on your right side in comparison to your left side? Use this opportunity to observe yourself. 1 more. And pause. All the way up you come, reaching that right arm to the side. Hold it. Look at your right thumb. And then as you bring that right hand up, feel that opening across your heart and releasing all the way down. Stay here for a moment, make any adjustments you need to your wrists. Taking your right leg extended all the way back. Now you're going to square your shoulders, square your pelvis, and on your breath, pick up that right leg without dropping into the lower spine. And lower the foot down gently. And again, lifting it up. Good. So this movement is called hip extension. And what we're focusing on here are the gluteal muscles, the gluteus maximus, and sort of that upper part of the hamstring at the back of the leg. Unfortunately, what happens for most of us is that the lower spine drops. So this is a wonderful way to get stability into the lumbar spine and to wake up the bum cheeks. 2 more. 1 more time. Lift up now, hold it there. Round your spine and touch your knee to your nose. Stretch your leg back and reach through your crown. And again, round the spine. And stretch. 2 more times. And stretch. 1 more time. And stretch. Now this time, step your foot to the outside of your right hand. Help yourself if you need to. Give yourself padding under your left knee if you need. And then walk your hands all the way up. So guys, your legs are wide apart. If you want to move it, feel free. But you want to find stability here. So abdominal muscles are connected. Start to just bring your body weight a little bit forward and a little bit backwards. Move your feet as you need to. What we're trying to do here is get an opening into that hip on the left side, the hip flexor. So you shouldn't be feeling any strain or pain or dropping into the lower back. I'm going to do 1 more time. Come all the way forward now, hold it here. Keep your right hand where it is. Left hand reaches up, hold it here. Do a little bit of a side bend towards the right. Hold it there, and now let's do some gentle releases. So for me, this is a very intense release on my hip flexor, but also a muscle called the TFL, the tentor fascia lata. One more. Release all the way up. Placing left hand down, placing right hand down, root into your hands, and then send that right leg all the way back. Bring your knee in and center yourself on all fours. So we're going to be doing the other side. So actually just watch that right knee out. Extend the left leg back. Take a moment to level the shoulders, level the pelvis. And on your breath, you lift and lower. And again, lift and lower. So using this very simple exercise to find stability in the lower back, which means you have to switch on gluteals, as I mentioned, but you also need to find a connection into the lower attachments of the abdominals. So the gluteus maximus and the lower abs work together. Last two. Last one. Lift up, hold it for a moment, round your spine, draw knee to nose. Send it all the way back. And again. Connect your movement to your breath. You don't have to move at the same pace that I am. You can alternate the breathing from what I'm doing. On this last one, step your leg all the way to the outside of your left hand. Help yourself if you need. Walk your hands up. Focus your gaze. Find your balance. And we start to move just a little bit forward and a little bit backwards. Good. Double check how that knee is doing. You seem fine, hey?
Yeah,
good.
that's fine.
Great.
That's it. It's so simple. That's soft knit.
You know what? It helps if you've got enough padding with the mats. Those yoga mats sometimes that I use.
Oh, way too thin. They're
Yeah,
not really good.
exactly. Going to do one more time. Bring yourself into a place where you can feel that hip opening. Right hand reaches up. Lean over towards the left, lateral flexion of the spine, and some gentle releases. That's it. TFL, deep hip flexor. One more. Release up, hold, bringing your hand all the way down. Go flat hands, root yourself, and then extend the left leg back, and bringing that knee all the way in. Open your knees nice and wide, big toes touch. Once again, come back into your resting position. And as you settle once again into the shape, just notice maybe the shift that is already taking place for you. How are your hips and pelvis settling now? When you scan through your body, where are those areas of discomfort or tension? Have they started to release? And staying in this space, see if you can walk your hands a little bit forward. So hopefully you can straighten your elbows, but just go as far as you can. Really connect your hands to the ground, and then almost do this little twisting, rotating action of your rib cage and shoulders. It doesn't have to be big. Feel the stretch on the front of the chest, the front of the shoulders. And this is almost an internal massage. So the diaphragm and the lungs are getting moved around. Come back to the center. And this time, walk your hands all the way back towards your knees. And you're going to shift your hips to the left. Move your feet over towards the right. So you're sitting kind of like a mermaid. Hold on to that outside ankle. Sweep the outside hand up and do a long lateral stretch. Come all the way back up. And now, placing that left hand or the outside hand to the ground, bringing the right hand all the way up and back, and then bringing your hand all the way towards the floor. Put both hands to the ground, and then square your shoulders. Let your hips move as they need to. I'm going to turn to face you guys so you can actually see what I'm doing here. And we're not actually moving anything. We're staying here and we're breathing, finding softness through the back of the neck. And then from here, let's go into a gentle extension of the spine. And then into a little bit of a rounding of the spine. And again, a little bit of a lift of the heart. And then curling back. So as you move your spine, do you notice that your heads and your hips respond? So don't think that things have to stay static. There's going to be a ripple that moves through your entire body. One more time. Come back to the center, moving your left hand into the center, bringing the right hand all the way up, and then as you come through the middle, just balance on your bum bones for a second, feet lifted in the air, tuck yourself into a tight little ball shape, and you're just finding balance. Notice the connections to your lower belly, your pelvic floor. And then bring your feet over to the other side, so whichever side you haven't done. Holding onto the outside ankle. Sweep your hand up and over, long lateral line. Bringing that hand down again. And now open up through the front arm line, reach back. And then bringing both hands all the way down to the floor. So separate your hands a little bit. Make the adjustments that you need so you can get your shoulders as squared as possible. And then stay here. Breathe. How does this side feel in comparison? And on your next breath, move yourself towards that lift of the heart, the lift of your eyeline, and then curl yourself back again. So it's quite nice as well when you do this movement to almost initiate it with your hands. So when I round back, I'm actually doing a little bit of a push with my hands. And then when I lift my eyeline and lift my heart, I'm doing a little bit of a pull with my hands. So there's very little strain or work through my back muscles. Last two. Find your own pace, find your breath. Come back to the center, moving your right hand to the middle of the mat, bringing the left hand up and coming all the way upright. So now you're going to flip onto your bottoms. Bring yourself so that you're sitting lengthways on your mat and come a little bit forwards on your mat. Separate the knees and feet slightly. Arms reaching out in front of you. Take your hands a little bit wider than your shoulders. Turn the palms of your hands up. Bend your elbows slightly and bring the arms a little bit down. That's it. Inhale as you find a bit of energy through your crown. Exhale, curl halfway back. Feeling the lower abs switch on. Stay here for a moment. And then start to curl yourself forward. And lift up tall. And again, draw back. So the reason I got your arms into this position is to try and bring any workload out of the upper trapezius, those neck muscles. Because it's so easy to bring the arms too close and too high, and that's immediately going to create tension through the upper body. Last two. And lift. Last one, curl halfway back. I'm going to stay here for a moment. Take another breath. Exhale, can you go back another centimeter? Beautiful. Can you go back another centimeter? Are you breathing? And go all the way to the floor and see if you can keep the palms of your hands facing up just for a moment. Walk your feet a little bit closer in towards you and make your spine settle, get your feet firmly connected. And if you prefer to turn your hands palms down, go for it. Up into a pelvic curl. Tilting your hips. Rolling up into a bridge position. Stay here for a moment. Double check that you're not pushing from your lumbar spine. You really want to see if you can get that lift from the base of the pelvis here. And then start to melt down through the spine and release at the bottom. And again, a little bit of a tilt. At any point, if you need to move your hands, if you need to move your feet, please do so. And then ripple down through the spine. Take your time and release. Let's do two more. And on this last one, rolling all the way up, stay here for a moment. Can you find your balance and start to bring your hands up towards the ceiling above your chest? Turn the palms of your hands to face each other. Open your arms to the side, but don't let yourself actually rest. Hover them. And then bring the arms up, and you're going to connect each fingertip to its partner. And again, breathing in. Exhale. Stabilize your pelvis. Wake up those bum cheeks. Breathing in. And exhale. One more time. Breathing in. Exhale. Now keep your fingertips connected and roll your spine all the way down. Feel that imprint and then allow yourself to release. Interlock hands. Place your hands underneath your head for support. Take a moment to lengthen your spine. Get your lower back in a happy place. Elbows floating. And on your next breath, come up into a chest lift. Feel how your ribs slide forward and then release yourself back. And again, exhale. And release. That's it. Bring your awareness to the abdominals, the upper abdominals, drawing you forward. The lower abdominals are helping you stabilize your pelvis and your lumbar spine, no strain. We're going to do a few more. And now I want you to bring your awareness to your back. So when we shorten one side, the opposite side has to lengthen. It has to give way in order for the movement to take place, or to take place with ease. Notice your own back. Is there anything holding you or inhibiting this movement for you? One more time. And release. Hold it there, and then just press your elbows back to give yourself a little bit of a stretch through the shoulders. Let your ribs pop up. You don't have to keep them grounded for now. And then slip your hands out and place them just in a low V. So your hands are going to be a little bit wider than your mat. Now again, you need to stabilize your pelvis. So get your lower back in a happy place and then you stabilize there. On your breath, pick up your right leg to tabletop, hold it. Pick up your left leg to tabletop, hold it, make any adjustments you need. And we're just going to lightly tap right toes to the floor. Pick it up, left toes. Now keep alternating. So if you've done any of the series with me before, you know that I place a big emphasis on hip disassociation. We should be able to move our legs independently of our pelvis and lumbar spine. And for a lot of people, they compensate. So if you feel that you're taking strain or losing stability, then maybe you shouldn't take your leg all the way down. Maybe you should only go halfway. Start to build it up. 2 more. Last set. So you finish with the left toe tapping and lifting. Now hold it here. You're going to open your right leg out to the side, but you're only going to the width of your mat. Stay there. Now bring your left leg over to meet it. Can you feel now that you've got to lift up your left bum? Line up your knees and line up your feet. Get your shoulders and arms down. Then bring your left leg to the center and then bring your right leg back to the center as well. Now take your left leg out to the side. Don't go too far. Width of your mat. Bring the right leg over to join. Can you feel the eccentric work of the obliques? Bringing the right leg back and bringing the left leg back. Now you guys know the movement. You can go at your own pace. So right and then left joins. And then left to the center and right to the center. So find your own rhythm. Guys, one of the principles of Pilates is, I think everybody knows, is control. So there's nothing wrong with moving quickly, provided that you have control over your movements. The problem comes in when people move in an uncontrolled manner, because that's when injuries happen, right? And we're going to do just one more time. Come back to the center and then hug your knees in towards your chest. Just circle your ankles. And the other way, circle. And then stay here and bring your right thigh over the left thigh. Put your hands on your knees, and if you have a stretcher, you stay here. But if you're pretty flexible, you can slide your hands down towards your ankles or your feet and see if you can get a stretch into the deep right hip. So this is that piriformis muscle. If you need a cushion underneath your head, then give yourself some support. But we're going to stay here for about 20 seconds. So just find a position that you know you can breathe through. But don't let yourself get off too easy, right? You want to feel about a 7 out of 10 intensity. Few more seconds. And then on your next breath, release, uncross, hug your knees in, tuck yourself into a tight little ball shape. So you're going to bring your head up towards your knees. And then lower your head and shoulders all the way down. So now we're going to do the left side. So bring your left thigh on top, hands on your knees, and then decide if you can move your hands down towards your ankles or not. And immediately, you might actually notice that there's a difference between the two sides on your own body, eh? Are you guys feeling that?
Yep.
Yeah. It's strange, yeah, it's strange because I feel a very strong stretch on both sides, but it just has a different sensation. It's almost a little bit sharper on the left side. Just keep breathing. And then release, uncross, tuck yourself into a tight little ball shape again. And releasing all the way down. Hook your hands behind your knees. We're going to do a slow roll up. So legs are together. Start to move your thighs away from you and see if you can get your elbows straight. Then lift your head so that you start rounding your spine and start pouring your body weight. So push your legs into your hands. That's it. And then bring your feet to the floor and then bring your head to your knees. Stay here for a moment and breathe. And then start leaning backwards. Abdominals connected. And then let your feet get light. Keep your elbows straight if you can. And slowly pour your body weight towards your chest, your head. Bring your head down and bring your knees in towards you. And we go again. So this is a really lovely modification for anybody who doesn't like rolling like a ball, for example, or anybody who doesn't really like a roller. Cool. That's how helping the lower back. Fantastic. And we're going to do 2 more. Take your time. And how seamless can you make it? How smooth can you roll up and roll down? Last one. We're going to stay in a seated position and then roll all the way upright. So I'm going to move a little bit back on my mat so that I've got my heels on some padded surface. Cross your right foot over and stand on the foot, flexing the left toes back. Right hand goes behind you to prop yourself up. Left hand reaches all the way up. And now start coming into a little bit of a twist. So you're going to hook your elbow around your knee if you can. And then just turn your head to look over the shoulder. And we're going to stay here for 5 breaths in and out. It's not about pushing yourself into a twist. It's about your breath taking you a little bit deeper. So you guys have heard me talk about this, but every time you inhale and you basically inflate your lungs, you're giving yourself an internal stretch, an internal release. And then every time you exhale and you deflate your lungs, it's going to allow you to come a little bit deeper into that rotation without forcing it at any point. One more breath in and out. And we come all the way back to the center. Uncross, stretch the leg out and give both your legs a little bit of a shake. Now, left foot steps up and over. Flex the right toes. Left hand behind your back. Right hand reaches. And again, coming into a little bit of a twist. Hooking elbow, beautiful. Looking over the left shoulder. And then start to focus on your inhale and your exhale. And as much as possible, you want to feel that you've got equal pressure on your 2 sit bones. It might be very tempting to sort of lean to the side. Finishing your last inhale and exhale. And releasing all the way back to the center. Uncross, stretch your legs, give them a little bit of a shake. Now you might want to come a little bit more forward. I want you to flex your ankles and separate your legs a little bit. Arms extended out in front of you. Lengthen up through your spine. And on your breath, curl your tail under. So actually, you might need that towel underneath your lower back. For everyone, if you need a little bit of support underneath the lower spine. And then reach the arms all the way overhead. Circle your arms around. Lift your head, look to your feet. And start curling up. Go all the way forward until your fingertips feel like they're going to reach past the heels of your feet. And then come all the way upright. Sit up nice and tall. And again, draw your tailbone under. So guys, for anybody who's taking strain here, feel free to bend your knees, feel free to hold on to your legs, feel free to go halfway back only. See what works for you. Exhale. Long stretch forward. So it's almost like we're doing that seated spine stretch. Roll all the way up. And then we combine it with our classic roll-up. Reach back. Big circle. Last one. All the way forward you go for that beautiful stretch. Roll up. And last time we're going to end up on our backs this time. Big circle around with the arms and just let them settle beside you. Turn onto your right side. Make a little pillow with your underneath arm. Legs are extended out nice and long. Fingertips light on the ground. So guys, chin up, shoulders down, head lights are facing forward, and that underneath oblique is engaged. So when you're ready, glue your legs together and see if you can lift both legs up at the same time. And then release them down. And again, as you lift up, can you feel that connection on the top waist? So if you happen to be feeling that your lower back is taking over, maybe it feels like it's spasming a little bit, or maybe you're just aware of it, a very easy trick is to roll the top hip bone back a little bit. I'm talking about like a centimeter. So what happens is it highlights the obliques muscles as opposed to the lower back muscles, which is called the quadratus lumborum. We want the obliques to work here. Let's just take a few more. Last two. Energy through your crown, don't shrink in on yourself. Now bring both legs up and hold it here. Your bottom leg goes down and squeeze up again. Down, squeeze up. Lower and lift. 3 more. So now you're going to be waking up the inner thighs. 2. Last one. Lift up and hold it. Stay here. Test your balance. Bring that arm up. Take a little breath in. And exhale, bring everything down, nicely down. Now bring both knees up as if you're sitting in a chair. Cradle the back of your neck so you have some support. Left arm comes forward. We're going to do 1 thoracic rotation. Lift your arm, look up at your hand, and then continue looking at your fingertips as you take that arm back. So guys, I don't force people to keep their knees and their hips stacked. It doesn't work for my back. So if you need to move your hips and back like I do, please feel free to make that adjustment. And we stay here for just a few breaths in and out. It is the most wonderful opening for the chest and for the shoulders. All that rounded spine movement that we do during our day. We want to open it up a little bit. And then take your time as you bring your hand up. Slide the knees and the hips all the way forward and holding it here. So you're just going to push yourself all the way up and you're going to come into a little bit of a mermaid seat here. And we're simply going to do a little bit of seaweed from side to side. So I'm also quite a big believer that this lateral movement of the spine has such an amazing effect, a good effect, on the back lines of our body as well. And these lines get very, very locked and tight on us just because we end up sitting so much of our day. Last one. And coming all the way up. Bring your feet all the way around. Remember, we're going to do a little balance here. Tuck yourself into that little ball shape. And if you want to challenge yourself, you can close your eyes. If you want to challenge yourself a bit more, you can put your elbows on your knees and place your hands together and balance there. So you'll feel that there's much more work into the hip flexors and lower abs as soon as you bring your elbows up high. And then on your next breath, release. Let your legs go to the side, and we're going to lie all the way down. Cradle the back of the neck. Everybody feeling okay? Yes? All good? Good. So, fingertips light. Chin up, shoulders down. You're going to find a connection to the underneath oblique. Both legs together as you bring the legs up. We are connecting into that top oblique here. So guys, in the foundation level Pilates work, this is one of the exercises that we teach. And it's interesting that a lot of people seem to think that we shouldn't be moving our spines. And this simple act of bringing the legs up, you are in fact doing this lateral flexion of the spine. So the top oblique should shorten. The trick is not to collapse the entire abdominal wall. So you're keeping stability here, but you are allowing movement, which is essentially what we want to do. We don't want any kind of bracing, right? Let's take two more. Keep reaching through your crown. Lift both legs up and pause here. And now the bottom leg goes down and squeezes up. And down, squeezes up. So we are working the inner thigh, the adductors of that underneath leg. But do you notice that that whole top side is contracting the whole time, the obliques and down the side of the hip here, the gluteus medius. So they're helping you stabilize as you work. Two more. One more. Beautiful control, guys. Hold it here. Test your balance. Reaching the arm up. Take a breath. And everything comes down. Bring both knees up, sitting in a chair. Cradle your neck. Right arm forward. Thoracic rotation. Opening up across the heart. Making any adjustments you need for yourself. Stay here for just a few more breaths. Just enjoy. And on your next breath, bringing arm all the way forward and holding it here. Pressing up onto your hand. Split your legs so that you're sitting in that mermaid seat again. And just once again, lateral flexion. Just ease the movement. So we call this the seaweed because if you take a look at a piece of seaweed or kelp in the ocean and the current catches it, It's got a very fluid, easy movement as it just goes with the flow. No forcing it. Last one. And release. Now we're not going to sit in the ball shape. We're going to flip onto our stomach so we can do some back extension. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have the legs fairly wide apart, not off the mat, but maybe even about the width of your mat. And you're going to have your elbows poking up today. Normally in Pilates we'll have them down, but I want you to start with hands connected just underneath your shoulders and the elbows lifted up. Energy through the crown of your head, and I just need you to engage into your bum cheeks a little bit here. Start by lifting your eye line. And then just come up into a little baby cobra. And hold it here for a moment. Almost feel like your elbows are going to pinch together behind your back. And can you feel that squeeze between the shoulder blades? So that's the mid and lower trapezius muscles switching on there. And then we get to lower and come down. Just cover the tip of your nose. Make any adjustments you need for yourself. And again, lifting eye line. Coming up into a baby cobra. And guys, remember baby cobra basically means that your two bottom ribs are on the floor, but your chest, your heart is lifted. A little squeeze with the elbows. And then releasing down. We're going to do two more like this. And use your breath to guide you into this position. Use your breath to guide your movement. One more time. Beautiful. And releasing all the way down. Now, put your elbows down. You can take your hands wide if you need to. There's no rule that says you have to stay on your mat, by the way. Bring your legs a little bit closer together. So maybe about hip distance. Switch on the bum cheeks. Energy through your crown. And here we go again. Inhale, lifting eye line, coming up into a little baby cobra. And just notice on your own body if it feels any different. And then releasing down. Come, we're going to do three more. So guys, the major difference here is the arm position changes the connection to the muscles that are working in the upper back. As soon as we have the elbows down, it's switching on a muscle called the serratus anterior, and it's quite difficult then to feel the squeeze between the shoulder blades. When you have the elbows lifting up, the serratus doesn't have to really work, and then you can actually get the connection between the shoulder blades. So they're both good. It's just knowing what you need on any particular day. And we're going to do our last release all the way down. And push yourself all the way back. Take a moment to sit back into a resting position. So after any extension of the spine, it is just such a lovely release. Getting a curve of the back. Don't force your arms or shoulders anywhere they don't want to go. Take a moment to have full inhale and full exhale. Then on your next breath, pull yourself up onto all fours. And once again, just bring your wrists into a comfortable position. Tuck your toes under. And then see if you can lift your knees just off the mat. Holding it here. Start to move your hips back, and then just lift your hips a little bit, not too much. And then bring your knees to hover, and bring your body weight forward. And again, move your hips back. Lift your hips a little higher this time, just a little bit. Bring your knees down to hover, and come a little bit forward. One more time. Shift back. Send your hips up as high as they can go this time, and then pedal the heels down. So it's been so interesting the last 2 months without doing much work for myself. My feet and my calf muscles feel so crampy and tight. It's just like, what? So you just realize that we need to pay attention to them, yeah? And then push both heels down towards the ground. Oh, that feels so good. Feel free to bend your knees if you want to, by the way. And take a breath. You're going to just walk your feet halfway forward. And then walk your hands back towards your toes. Keep your fingertips on the ground. Stand firmly and just hang there like a rag doll. Shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Take a breath. And then roll up. Keep your knees super duper bent as you come all the way up into standing. Oh, focus your eye line. Take a moment maybe to just roll your shoulders back and around. And then take a look at your feet. Double check feet are level. Close your eyes just for a moment. If you're not comfortable fully closing eyes, then just lower your gaze towards the ground. And just as we started in our resting position, let your breathing slow down. Scan through your body, observing how you feel, noticing any areas of tension or perhaps release. Notice how your energy feels after the last hour of breathing and moving. Taking one more deep inhale through the nose. Hold your breath for a moment. And long exhale. If your eyes are closed, you can blink them open. Give fingertips a little shake, give knees a little bit of a shake. Awesome, guys. Did you enjoy? Feel good with everything?
Yes.
I've been so nice doing class.
Yes.
So nice. So nice.
Yeah, yes, you.
I think all of us need to do something like this for us all the day.
Yes.